Welcome back to Cityline. With me is somebody that as soon as we are 100% able to meet in person, I am going to track her down and take her out for a 5-hour lunch because that's how much I want to spend time with her. I am talking about the Senior Program Officer for Ben Cheney Foundation, the lovely and memorable Erica Tucci. Hello, Erica.
Hi, Amanda. It's good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, hon, it's great to have you on, and I'm serious. As soon as we can meet, I'm going to make reservations at my favorite restaurant. I'm picking you up, and we're going.
That sounds lovely. Let's do it.
We are. So let's talk about, first off, we want to talk about the Ben Cheney Foundation and all the wonderful work, but especially a scholarship program that's coming up here. But I want to open it up and go back in time, and I want you to tell us, who was Ben Cheney?
Yeah, Ben Cheney is a name I think a lot of people who have been in Tacoma or Pierce County for any number of years have kind of have this association between Cheney and sports, and they're right. Ben was an entrepreneur here in the Tacoma area. It's one of my favorite stories and a great lesson that the first time isn't always going to be successful. He tried and tried and tried several ideas, several businesses, and the one that he's most known for is the Cheney Lumber Company, which started in 1936 here in Tacoma. And his claim to fame is the 8-foot building stud. So prior to that, building studs came in various lengths. He standardized those and helped save timber waste and make home building easier in a time where there was a housing boom.
That is impressive because, you know, we all can walk around Tacoma, Pierce County, and look at some of the building and some of the construction that's going up. And now I'm going to look over there at some of those beams and go, thanks, Ben.
Yeah, we should. We should. And there's still some with his Cheney Lumber stamp here in Tacoma if you dig deep enough in the walls.
Oh, boy, that sounds like a fundraiser right there. Give me 10 people to go dig in the walls and to find Ben Cheney timber. I'm with you.
Indeed.
So let's talk about the foundation. The foundation hosts a scholarship program, and tell us about this scholarship program.
Yeah, so in addition to all of the other grant making we do here at the Cheney Foundation, the high school scholarship program is one of our favorites. The foundation was established in 1955, but really took its formal start in 1975. We have been administering this scholarship program since 1976 and have to date given away more than $2 million in scholarships. So this scholarship marries Ben's love of sports, and particularly baseball, with his hope that our young people would get a solid foundation in scholarship and community involvement.
I love that. So without any further ado, let's roll out. What are the requirements to apply for the scholarship from start to finish?
Yep. So what we're talking about is high school seniors here in Pierce County, and then also in the city of South Bend, which is where Ben grew up. It's out towards the coast. So we partner with, we use the WIAA, the Washington Interscholastic Athletics Association, as our marker. So we're working with all of the WIAA affiliated high schools in Pierce County, as well as the one in South Bend. And we are looking for students who have played at least 1 year or 1 season of a varsity WIAA sport with their school. So that's 33 high schools and a range of sports. From there, the students need to demonstrate that they have a scholarship, that they take their studies seriously, and demonstrate community involvement. And they must be going forward to some sort of post-secondary education in the fall. So that's where the scholarship will go with them. So this could be a 2-year school, a 4-year school, or a vocational technical school. Needs to be a nonprofit, but otherwise it's wide open because we know education journeys are different for everybody. And the student, we ask them to write a 300-word essay telling us what sports has meant in their life.
Oh, wow. Okay. But that takes me back to my high school and writing those kind of scholarships as well. So when you were just describing this, Erica, and just did a beautiful job, One of the questions that came up in my mind is, why are only WIAA sports eligible? What is it about that organization that made it be the standard of measurement?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we get asked that a lot because there are a ton of really worthy activities, a ton of really worthy competitive type things that our young people are involved with. For us, we needed some way to narrow it down. And that partnership with the WIA really marries for us the scholarship piece and the athletics piece. So we know that students that are participating in WIAA sanctioned sports are really marrying those two pieces of scholarship at their school to be able to perform and the sanctioned activity.
And I would say hence making them incredibly well-rounded.
We have some incredible kids.
Yeah, I mean, juggling all those plates, that's a full-time job in addition to going to high school and being a senior. I mean, it's one of the harder years because there is so much information to keep track of in addition to your junior year as well. So what are the requirements in the sense of you've got to be a part of a WIAA sports eligible? They have all of those beautiful requirements in there. So in addition to that, what are the school staff looking for when they evaluate these scholarships? Because I would imagine that's got to be like one of the first levels of the first tiers. You run it through those people who are actually witnessing their greatness on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's a tough, I can't imagine being part of one of these committees to see all of these applications and all of these wonderful young people coming through. So while we administer the program and we're the ones that actually make the $3,000 non-merit awards to that post-secondary education, regulations and rules prohibit us from actually making the selection. So this is where we get to have a wonderful partnership with the school staff and counselors. So we have identified contacts at each of the schools, and those counselors will gather a committee together to help review not just our scholarship, but other community-based scholarships that their students might be eligible for. So we provide them a matrix of criteria that highlights really those key points that I talked about. We're looking for scholars, we're looking for community involvement and those technical pieces. But the essay is really, I think, what they're looking at. Some folks assume that the students that rise to the top are the 4.0 captain of the team type students, and really it's the stories of how students used sports to learn grit and tenacity, and that how do you come back from a setback. Those are the stories that we see really rise to the top for the counselors and those committees when they're making their selection. You couldn't have said it better, because it is those triumph over adversity stories that everybody has. But I often think, Erica, when you are asked to sit down and write 350 words about it, that's when it really comes to life. We all carry those stories within us of times that we had to overcome a difficult situation, or we were at a crossroads where we had to step in and we had to say, this is not right. In the name of justice, equity, tenacity, I'm going to speak up. So that leads me to my next question, because we are in a time now that's unprecedented in the sense of our life experiences and how we record them, how we write them, how we narrate them. How has that changed the program over time? Yeah, so I think one of the things that we're noticing this year that makes my heart happy and gives me hope is that the stories are inspiration for the student. The last couple of years have really been disrupted, especially for students who are used to athletics being their outlet for creativity or stress or whatever it is. And so the stories that we were receiving the last couple of years still felt heavy, still felt disrupted. And this is the first year that we're starting to see these stories come through with hope and vision for the future, and just really that uplift that we've all been looking for, I think. So we're hearing stories of how that disruption led to depression in some cases. We're getting some really vulnerable stories. We're hearing some stories of where that disruption led to really unhealthy choices, whether it was dramatic weight gain or just not exercising at all, and how these students moved through that and realized, gosh, I can't keep going this way. And even in the absence of that formalized sport for them, sometimes they were able to pick themselves up and realize what they needed to do to start getting back in their groove again.
Oh, when young people apply for things, because we are in this instant world now of I got it, or it'll arrive 24 hours from the time you ordered it. Our perception of how long something takes sometimes can be viewed through those mechanisms. So walk me through in these last few minutes when a teacher looks at a student and says, the Ben Cheney Foundation needs to know about this person. What is the process from start to finish?
Yeah, that's a great question, because you're right, it is not quick. So in order to give ample time, we actually open the application process in early January, even though the deadline is March 15th. And so we're doing exactly what you talked about. We're reaching out to our youth providing partners, we're reaching out to teachers, coaches, students, everybody we can think of, and just putting this opportunity out there in hopes that they can have conversations with their student athletes in their orbit and help encourage them. Because like you said, I too remember writing these when I was in high school. It's not fun. We know students procrastinate on them. We know we'll get a bunch of them in on March 14th. But we're hoping that lead time of conversation helps formulate thoughts and helps encourage participation. So that's the first part. The second part, after everything closes on March 15th, the applications then go to the schools, and we give them a few weeks to get through their process, because we know our teachers and our counselors at the schools have a million things on their plate. So we don't want to rush that piece of the process either. So we should be notifying students close to graduation time, around that like end of April, early May time frame, if they've been selected for the award. And then in August, the payment actually gets sent directly to their school, so they don't have to do a darn thing.
When you said payment being sent to the school, it reminded me of when I was a senior in high school and I had scholarships. And there was so much I did not know about scholarships, money, grants, all of that. And it would have been so much easier if it just would have been sent to the school. It really would have, because an 18-year-old juggling scholarship money with lots of zeros was not my forte. So as always, the Ben B. Cheney Foundation has made it seamless for the next generation to fly. Erica, thank you to you and your team that you row in the boat with, that you hold the light up to continue to say there are funds here, there are ways for you to fly, and just follow us and we'll show you how. I have a request that when you find out who this person is, I would love to have them back on the show with you to talk about what their future looks like, and we'll all bring our Ray-Bans because it will be so bright we won't be able to look at them. Is that a deal?
Well, it's not going to be just one, it's going to be 33. But yes, somehow we're going to find a way to share the stories of these 33 incredible young people with you.
We're going to have to rent a stadium, but my producer Fred and I will figure out how to make it happen.
We'll make it happen. We know somebody.
We do, yeah. We know somebody who has some stadium connections. Erica, thank you so much for being here today, my dear. I look forward to picking you up and going to lunch soon.
Me as well. Thank you for having me, Amanda.